Welcome back. In our It's the Economy segment, we are checking out whether the festive demand has meant a better festival than previous long-term average and in which sectors. Of course, these are early numbers, but nevertheless, to get a feel of consumption during the festive season, we have with us Manish Raj Singhania, the President at the FADA, Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, and Teresa John, the Deputy Head Research and Economist at Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities. Teresa and Manish, thank you very much for joining us. Manish, we heard from our correspondent Parikshit that passenger car sales, some segments have been very good. But you tell us, what is the ground check as of now, even if you don't have final numbers?
So for auto industry, at least festival season has been very good. If we talk about the passenger car segment, we are really anticipating an all-time high numbers this year. But the twist is just that the right model mix has not been available at the dealerships. The supply of booked vehicle was not there. Even though we are anticipating on a YOY basis an excellent figure, passenger car industry with the advent of good launches, SUV attraction of SUV has really made the day of the customer. Urban customer and semi-urban customers are on a spending spree, and everybody is going for a vehicle to own or buy. So overall, good for a passenger car vehicle. Two-wheeler also, that segment has really been a cause of worry for the auto industry and the dealerships. But during the festive time, two-wheeler on a YOY basis has been good, and the response has really picked up. Overall, if you see the kind of growth that now we are expecting, that really shows the most worrisome was the entry-level segment that was not performing in the two-wheeler as well as the passenger car segment. With the kind of offers by OEM on entry-level cars or schemes up to almost 10% of the vehicle value. That has really attracted the customer, and we can see that segment also kicking in and moving. So overall, good festive season for auto industry on a YOY basis.
Sure. Manish, I just want to clarify here. When you say that it's an all-time high festive season sales, you're talking about the retail sales at an all-time high? Because wholesale numbers were strong because there was inventory stocking at the dealer's end. But retail, we heard certain pockets have still not picked up. Tractors, for example, two-wheelers, as you mentioned. So when these all-time high sales are retail sales?
So all-time high sales, I'm talking specifically of passenger vehicle. Those would be, we have been expecting a decade high sale. So two-wheeler, as I already said, we were just worried about normal numbers coming in. The last 2 months, we could see growth happening in two-wheeler segment. But in festive also, the cause of worry was there. But the sector has responded well. And overall, we will see a growth in two-wheeler during the festive.
Manish, specifically, Sonia is asking, the pickup is in retail or wholesale?
Yeah, it is in retail. Not,
okay.
would be, obviously, wholesale would be a different matter. We are talking about absolute retail figures.
Got that. Okay. Let's invite Teresa John, the Deputy Head Research at Nirmal Bang. Teresa, your team speaks to a bunch of companies. Can you tell us if there are any pluses you have noticed in terms of better demand in the festive season and minuses, if any?
Yeah, so we've been doing some ground research, and the feedback is that the festive season sales are looking good, particularly auto sales. And over the last few months, there has been some slowdown because of uncertainty regarding the Kharif crop. But overall, the things seem to be panning out not too badly. So we are seeing pickup in or in the passenger vehicle side, and even two-wheeler side. On the two-wheeler side, we are seeing increasing enquiries. So we've done some ground research, particularly in the MP region, and the festive.
No, Teresa, 1 minute. Auto sector, we got a good idea from Manish. Non-auto, have you all picked up anything? Consumer durables, consumer non-durables, any other, straws in the wind?
Yeah, so on the consumer durables white goods side, again, based on our ground research, we are seeing good traction. And so there have been a couple of drivers for demands. One is, after 2 years, the festive season, we are seeing a full-blown festive season, with, this time around. Secondly, we are seeing increasing participation from women buyers. So that's some of the ground research suggests that increasingly the white goods sales are being driven by women buyers. So there is increasing, particularly in the rural area, there is increasing participation of women in the labor force. So they undertaking subcontracting work from industry. They are working in the fields and taking up other rural employment. And also there is increasing availability of credit to these buyers, not particularly for buying white goods, but in general, through microfinance institutions. So the last mile availability of credit has improved, and this is actually driving white goods sales in this festive season, and probably even outside of that.
Okay, Manish, I wanted you to particularly tell us what's happening in rural India. A good barometer of a pickup in demand is when tractor sales pick up and mass market two-wheelers pick up, right? The 100cc bikes. Now with the marriage season coming back in a big way, have you seen these two pockets improve?
Yeah, so see the kind of growth that we are seeing we are anticipating actually in two-wheeler and tractors. Tractors have also performed very well in festive times. So that really tells, that kind of growth can only be achieved when our rural India kind of, our Bharat starts performing and starts delivering. So even though pre-festive season, we could see a definite stress on Bharat and rural India not performing that well and people not coming forward to buy vehicles. But during festival season, they have really come forward and bought their vehicles. They have, fulfilled their demands and wishes. We can definitely see the entry-level two-wheelers and tractor market also growing, the numbers really coming in. So that worry of, at least not rural India not performing was not there during the festival time. And with the advent of, MSP being delivered to the farmers and the marriage season, we are very confident that two-wheeler will perform even better. Though we still feel on a YOY basis, we are pretty confident that two-wheeler will be doing good.
No, YOY things are improving, Manish. The problem is they are not improving, they are not going back to 2018 levels, which is what companies are worrying about. I'll just come to you in a minute. Teresa, there are a couple, today Mint has an article which says that air passenger traffic is better than last year for October 22 at 360,000 passengers. But compared to October 2019, when it was 397,000 passengers, it's not so good. Likewise, Dabur told us that their volume growth is only 1%. Are there any pockets where companies have told you that demand is good, but not as good as 2018-19?
Yeah, so particularly on the air traffic, we're still below pre-pandemic levels, and I think that recovery will take maybe a few more months because you've been also hit by higher crude oil prices and higher ATF prices. But overall, we think the services sector, particularly the contact-intensive services, will be the key driver of demand over the next 3 to 6 months. In the rural areas, so you mentioned Dabur. So in rural areas, what we are hearing is that the bottom of the pyramid actually has been impacted significantly by higher inflation. So a large part of the slowdown in rural demand that you saw over the last, 9 to 12 months is because of higher inflation. So, crop prices have gone up, but not commensurately with the increase in input prices. And even rural wages, it's been quite muted at around 4 to 5%. So unless you see inflation actually coming off, you probably will not see a big recovery in rural demand. But one positive is there that we are going into election year next year. So we could see a pickup in government spending in rural areas, and so that could, to some extent, support rural demand.
Fair enough. Thanks a lot for that, Teresa. One sentence answer from you, Manish. Do you, have any misgivings at all? You've given us a very big point that even entry level is picking up. That's extremely positive. But Any one word on comparison with 18-19?
So 18-19, yes, we are still worried about if we compare to 18-19. Though we are not worried about passenger car segment. Actually, what is happening in passenger car segment, apart from performing well, the new bookings are also coming in very regularly. That's a good, healthy sign. But in two-wheeler, that is really not happening. Maybe, the festival time will be good, but compared to 2019 or 18 comparison, we are worried about two-wheeler industry, and that really needs to be seen whether this kind of buoyancy that we have seen during festival festival time, it continues in the coming months or not. That's a serious doubt on us, and we are kind of worried about that this growth will continue or not.
Fair point. So it is festive cheer, but a couple of red flags that Teresa and more importantly Manish are pointing out to us. Thank you very much for joining us and kicking off our festive season demand analysis. This is the first we're having. We'll have a few more. So good festive sales of two-wheelers, even entry level, but compared to 2018-19, there are still worries not picked up anywhere near that. At the moment, market's still in fine fettle. Banks are leading from the front, and as I told you, 52-week highs for Canara Bank and South Indian Bank. A couple of pharma stocks also in the 52-week high category. The rupee, after strengthening a lot in the opening, has given up a bit of its gains. But I think the market that's really cheering is the bond market. It's a huge rally out there because of the fall in US yields. You're seeing a drop in Indian yields as well. I think this is the lowest yield we have had in a month. Wrap up on Bazaar on that note. We'll be back to equities full throttle on Chartbusters with a lot of trading ideas.